Hi, this is Mr. Evans. This video is going to finish off this section on business ownership by looking at not-for-profit organisations. Not-for-profit organisations cover a huge variety of organisations. They exist to serve a purpose other than making a profit. We defined businesses in an earlier video as an organisation that comes together with the aim of making a profit, i.e. making sure that their sales revenue exceeds the costs that they incur in producing their product, in order that they've got some excess money left over and they have made a profit. That's what a business tries to do. Well, not-for-profit organisations also have the resources that a typical business has. They've got land, labour, enterprise, capital, but they bring together these resources for a purpose other than making a profit. So you might want to think of your school as an example, assuming that you go to a state school. A state school has labour, it's got teachers, it's got capital like desks and chairs and IT equipment and PE equipment. It's got the land that it's built on, and it's got the senior leadership team in form of enterprise to organise that school's resources to provide a service, which is education. The school needs money to survive. Yes, I'm not saying that it doesn't. It needs money to achieve its goal of providing the service of education, but the purpose of the business, the purpose of the organisation of the school is that they're providing education rather than making a profit. So there's lots of different types of organisations that exist other than to make a profit. Public sector organisations are organisations owned by the government, like schools, hospitals, your bin collection, your waste disposal, the police. All of these organisations are funded by the government. They need money in order to achieve their objective, whatever that may be, but they don't aim to make money. They just need to have enough money to provide their service. Charities, pressure groups like Greenpeace and the British Heart Foundation, these organisations exist in order to achieve a goal other than making a profit. Yes, they need money to survive, and they'll try and raise money through various tactics like donations, but any excess money that they collect over the course of the year that they don't spend, that isn't withdrawn as profits by the owners of these businesses. No, it's reinvested into these businesses, into these organisations, so that they can continue to do their work to achieve their aims. Clubs and societies like football clubs, etc., amateur football clubs, they exist to provide something for young people to do or older people to do, but their aim isn't to make a profit. A final example is social enterprises, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, which is slightly different to these other non-profit organisations. So I'll discuss social enterprises separately. But what are the typical not-for-profit aims? Well, they want to provide a service, education, healthcare, whatever that service may be. Maybe a not-for-profit wants to reduce the incidence of a social issue. So there's an organisation called Stonewall that aims to reduce incidents of homophobic bullying. Maybe the not-for-profit wants to complete a specific project, but building a playground for disabled children or some issue like that. Maybe they're trying to raise awareness of a social issue, so mental health in teenagers. You might get an organisation that exists to raise awareness of that. All of those are non-profit aims, and businesses, organisations in the non-profit sector need to make enough money to break even, i.e. enough money to stay doing what they're doing. Okay, I keep on using the term business by mistake. Non-profit organisations are stay in existence would be a better word. Non-profit organisations are not businesses. Okay, a business typically would aim to make a profit. These are organisations. So the NHS, an amateur dramatic society, these are non-profits with typical non-profit aims. So I said that I would mention social enterprises in a minute. Social enterprise is slightly different in that it is a business. Okay, Cafe Direct is an example of a social enterprise. They organise their factors of production in order to produce a product which they then sell, and they do hope to make a profit. It's just that the primary aim of a social enterprise is often something other than making a profit. So Jamie Oliver's Restaurant 15, which you can Google, that is an organisation that exists. They employ and train young chefs who maybe haven't done particularly well at school or have had some social issues as they've been growing up. The business needs to make money to survive, but they want to make some profit, but their primary aim isn't making a profit. It's providing jobs for people who are socially disadvantaged. Cafe Direct, similarly, they aim to make a profit, but that's not their primary objective. The primary objective of Cafe Direct is to work with growers of tea and coffee to ensure that those people get a good price for their product. If they're profit maximizing, they'd be trying to buy the cheapest possible ingredients. But no, Cafe Direct want to make sure that the people who are growing tea and coffee, who in the past have been exploited by large companies, get a fair price for their tea and coffee. Just to see how this might end up being examined, here's an example of a very similar question that came up on the last AQA specification. Meals on Wheels has recently been set up as a local social enterprise by Sally and David Waite. They pay themselves a small salary. They prepare and cook quality hot meals 5 days a week for elderly people who pay a small charge for the service. So in other words, this is a social enterprise because yes, they need some money to survive, but their main aim is to provide quality hot meals for elderly people. The meals are collected from Meals on Wheels by volunteers who deliver them within the local area. The premises are provided free of charge by the local council. Any profits the company makes are spent on improving the company's services. Well, you might get a question, something along the lines of, analyse one advantage of them being a not-for-profit company, of having an aim other than just making a profit. Well, one advantage to Meals on Wheels of being a not-for-profit company is they get their premises provided free of charge by the local council. This is good because it cuts their costs of production, making them able to sell the meals at a lower price for volunteers. And that's good because it will lead to them having more profit to reinvest in expanding the company. So the advantage of being a not-for-profit company in this case would be that they get their premises free of charge, it cuts their costs. Also, the meals are delivered by volunteers, so that means that their costs are reduced as well. And it's good because it increases the amount of profit that they may make, which of course are spent on improving the company's services in the future.